Hè?
Hij moet daar over.
Hij moet...
In the last episode, we had a beautiful sail from Aruba to Panama, 650 miles in 2 days and 20 hours. It was rough on one hand, but not too rough. We had a good sail. We were so happy that the boat performed very well and that it was in one piece again. And even with the standard crossbeam, it performed really good.
Just past the traffic separation schemes. We now have to avoid a couple of the boats that are on anchor to get to the entrance between the two breakwaters. This is Greatcircle. We're 8 miles from the breakwater and heading for Shelter Bay Marina.
In Shelter Bay Marina, we heard that most boats had to wait about 10 days before they could cross the Panama Canal. For us, that would be a big disappointment because Outremer did such a good job. Then we wouldn't be in time in the Galapagos for the start to the Marquesas.
Gaat hartstikke goed. Beetje acrobaten.
So we just heard that we're going to the canal tomorrow. Not in 10 days, not in 9 days, not in 8 days. No, tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. I guess. So all of a sudden, well, we were planning to clean the boat today anyway. This thing's shining again. Thomas, who washed all the salt off the boat in the meantime. So it's nice and fresh. Stefan just learned how to tie with a bowline.
And they're all correct.
They're all correct?
Yeah.
Oh, really good.
Surprisingly.
Ja, ja.
Paalwandeling. Kom je nog even poseren?
Bye-bye! We're going tomorrow! So the night before the passage through the canal, we already moved the boat in the light to the anchorage just in front of the harbor because the advisors of the canal would come on board 4:30 the next morning.
Good morning.
So just next to the anchorage, the pilot boat drops the pilot or the advisor on board.
Starboard side.
Oké. Lijnen zijn klaar, stootkussen zijn klaar, Mark?
Ja.
And then just before the locks, we are going to raft up with two other boats. There's one 60-foot sailing yacht, and that goes in the middle. And we go on the starboard side, and there's another smaller catamaran that goes on the port side. The heaviest boat always goes in the middle, and he must keep the raft stable. It is not easy to maneuver with two boats on your sides, so both boats on the sides have to brake also when the raft is not going straight anymore. When entering the locks, we were porting a little bit to the port wall, so the advisor asked me to give throttle backwards. When entering the locks, we were porting a little bit to the port wall, so the advisor asked me to give throttle backwards. So I gave a little bit of throttle backwards, and then he said, that's not enough, give more. And I gave more throttle backwards. But what we didn't know is that my gearbox cable broke and my engine was still in forward. So when I throttled up backwards, the boat went fast forward instead of backwards. And then I pushed the Fauteuil Pachot on the left-hand side. We pushed it straight to the wall. So we had to unraft and go back to the anchorage. So for us, the Panama Canal was over at that point. And we didn't know what would happen next because we were so lucky with this slot in the morning. We can't be so lucky twice.
Okay.
I'm just putting Loctite on later, but
sure?
it works. Thanks, Stefan, for the tip.
Thanks, Mark. You did a good job. My new technician. I love you.
Yeah, you should.
You should. So Outremer can always be called and they can always be reached, and they helped us on the background, and Mark repaired the engine.
Well,
So this is our pilot or advisor. How do we call
advisor.
it? Advisor. We were very unlucky this morning that the gearbox cable broke. So now we are back on the anchorage, and Mark completely repaired the boat. So I'm so very proud. Yeah,
It's a hero.
he's a hero.
Well, you're going to be a hero if you get us to the other side. Still.
It's not in my hands, so.
Oh yeah.
4:30. Oh, thank you so much, Roy. And then we do everything one day later, like checking out on Friday, or everything one day later. Okay, thank you so much. We will see you later. Bye bye. Zullen we met het bootje naar binnen gaan en dan een hapje eten weer daar?
Well, new day, new try. Huh? Yeah, fingers crossed.
We made a backup plan that if something like that would happen again, Mark was in the back of the boat and the lockers of the engine room were both open, not locked. And as soon as we would feel suspicion, then he would jump in and put it in gear manually.
Try on the click and then we pull and secure.
You said slow a little bit more.
Yes.
You said, yeah.
Very slow. Yeah. Very slow.
Now this accident only cost us 1 day. And it's unbelievable how many miracles happen. We have bad luck on one side, but also a lot of good luck.
I want to put in more the ball inside, more closer.
Donc so they need to slack the stern.
Slide the sun a little bit,
You
please.
slack the stern.
Yes, I pick up.
Hello, what is your name? Marijke. Marijke. Yeah, very good. Your name is?
Alice and Adrien.
Hi, Mark and Marijke.
Non, ça va, on est long.
Vous êtes de France ou
Oui.
ça va? C'est belge donc
D'accord.
je parle un peu.
No, mais wait. You are putting underneath that one, and first I need to know what to do with my boat before you are doing. So you are not doing it that way,
Okay.
and you are attaching the boat together with itself.
Okay.
Okay. So next time you want to do something with my boat, you tell me first.
Excuse me, ma'am. We are in charge.
It is my
Okay,
boat.
okay.
I am responsible.
Okay.
Not everybody is as relaxed going through the canal. And the Orion guys were not relaxed at all because they saw the accident the day before and they were thinking that we made a huge mistake. They didn't know that we had a problem. So they were like, oh my God, there's Greatcircle. We have to go with them through the canal.
Not easy. Nou, we zijn al verder dan gisteren.
We didn't slam anyone into a wall.
Luckily on both sides we had very good line handlers. So the raft stayed stable even with all the current in the lock. For me, I needed a lot of concentration, bringing the raft from one lock to the other. And then when we were in the lock, luckily I had some time to relax.
So when we entered the first lock,
Yeah.
there was a huge current.
Was
And
it
then-
current? Was it current from the lock or from the big ship?
I don't know. I think still from the big ship, but I'm not sure. The whole boat was pressed
Started to
the
turn
side.
like yesterday.
So luckily all the engines worked. So I could solve that problem. When you are inside here, you just have to try and keep the boat straight. But it's a huge concentration. And after 2 days waking up at 4 o'clock, I can feel that.
Zo, dat is de eerste serie.
We
Goed
moeten
man.
eruit, hè? We moeten eruit.
Ja, we moeten er nog uit.
After the first 3 locks, you enter the lake and then the raft splits up and we all go on our own to the next 3 locks, I think about 30 or 50 miles further away.
Thomas?
Ja.
Als je net helpen hier met de lijn.
And in the second 3 locks, the big boat is behind us instead of in front of us. And that's a little bit scary when it comes towards you.
So 2 steps to go. Maximum there. Links achteruit dan.
And then the last lock is the most difficult one because you have a big current in the back and also the wind is in the back.
We're there in the last lock. And then here's the bridge. And then we're in the Pacific.
Hola, Pacifico!
Kunnen we deze al niet loskoppelen?
Goed man. Nou jongens, dan doen wij een applausje voor Marijke.
What were we hoping to get out of this?
In de loodsboot.
Some kind of momentary bliss.
Next time, I also want 5 more.
I waited for something, and something died.
Pacific?
Yeah.
After this bridge, huh?
After the bridge. It's
Hoi.
the Pacific.
The Odyssey of a lifetime.
Oh, just make it.
Close.
We're in the Pacific, darling!
Darkest blackout. It's our final end. My dear sweet nothing, let's start anew. From here on in, it's just me and you.
Ciao, ciao, Lawrence. Thanks very much.
And something died. So I waited for nothing.
So we're entering La Playita. Fernando's already there. He showed us where our berth is.
Guess it's
Is weit,
over.
Marijke.
I guess it's begun.
Fernando is already there. Fernando is a guy we met 2 years ago in the British Virgin Islands when we were in lockdown there. And he lives in Panama and Mark was constantly in contact with him. And we are going to spend a day with him, and he also arranged somebody who was checking Mark's solution with the gearbox. And Mark passed the exam.
Certamente, Master 4, 5, Master 6 voltos. Yeah, minimum.
Có lốp tay.
Yeah, long time blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You already work.
This is from Paloma's wine.
Okay. Okay, dog.
Sweet. Hi, how
Okay.
are you?
So now we are in the Pacific, and we are going to do some shopping tomorrow together with Fernando and have a nice lunch together. And then the next night we are going to leave for the Galapagos.